Nauroh will accompany you in this debate as well as the right course of debate that will be conducted for some time to come. I'm here to read the motion about smoking should be banned on campus. The first argument will be presented by the pro team and followed by the contra team to say some rebuttal and state their arguments. And the next will be followed by the second rebuttal and argument between pro and contra team. Therefore, each team will be given time to rebut their own case, and the last each team will say about their summary. Without any further ado, please to the pro team to start the debate. Time is yours.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Zakiya. Today I will be the first speaker of pro team and talking about our first argument. But before that, let me introduce my teammates. They are Fathia and Rachma. First of all, I will give you some definition about these motions. Smoking is the activity of burning tobacco and then inhaling the smoke, either using a cigarette or using a pipe. Smoking is very common inhaling the smoke, either using a cigarette or using a pipe. Smoking is a very common and widespread habit in society. In general, smoking is still being debated among health experts about its direct and indirect effect. Smoking in public areas, especially on campus, has an effect on the health of both smokers and other people who are exposed to cigarette smoke or secondhand smoking. Cigarette smoke contains thousands of chemicals, including many toxic and carcinogenic substances that can live on the surface. Therefore, a ban of smoking on campus should be enforced to prevent the spread of cigarette smoke, which causes chronic disease. We strongly believe that is true. I can give my argument that smoking should be banned because smoking can be harmful for our body organs and other people. The substance that is used in cigarettes can cause cancer, heart disease, stroke, lung disease, diabetes, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease or COPD, which includes emphysema and chronic bronchitis. According to the World Health Organization, substances like tobacco kills more than 8 million people each year. More than 7 million of those deaths are the result of direct tobacco use, while around 200 million are the result of non-smokers being exposed to secondhand smoke. Other than that, smoke exposure is clearly linked with negative outcomes on a person's health. A recent study published in the medical journal Circulation reviewed 13 studies from around the world and found that banning smoking in public areas such as campus can reduce heart attack hospitalization by up to 36% over time, regardless of geographical location. Moreover, secondhand smoke exposure contributes to approximately 4,100 deaths among non-smoking adults and 40 deaths in infants each year, including infants, children, and also pregnant women. And that's all from me. I give it to the team track.
Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome from this side of Control Team. My name is Zaidan. I'm the first speaker of this team. I'm also accompanied by my teammate Swandika. As the first speaker, I like to give redefinition to the three pro. Also rebuttal and my own argument. I strongly believe that this is not true. In our opinion, smoking is a normal thing in terms of daily activities because we see that the data and fact in society, especially students, that smoking is normal and common things. Especially in our UIN campus, which implements Islamic law on campus. That smoking law itself, according to some scholars, is makruh. Then what makes smoking must be removed from campus if smoker can adapt and understand the condition when they smoke. Maybe in my opinion, why do you want to eliminate smoking from campus? Because the smokers' behavior or action are not in accordance with the condition or do not understand the surrounding environment. Okay, I respect your argument about having a negative effect on self and others. But in my opinion, that argument is inappropriate when brought into the context of the theme or debate. Because when smoking can have negative effects and oneself and others, on oneself and others, the campus can provide solution that, in my opinion, can be more acceptable to the majority of students and lecturers, such as providing smoking area in every corner of the campus area and giving punishment to people who smoke outside the smoking area, or can provide time or regulations that can discipline the smokers so they don't smoke as they like. This can be proven by the existence of rules for smoking in open areas of the campus and the provision of the park facilities as a form of action where people may smoke as long as it is not done in a closed room. The same thing with the provision of this facility. This also provides flexibility for smokers.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Rachma Putri Anjani. I would like to give rebuttal and my arguments. Okay, in the point of view about providing smoking areas or giving punishment to someone who smoke outside of it, it's not absolutely effective. The reason why it's not effective is because regulation like this can last only a few moments. And also, if there is no habituation with smoking bans, then the discipline carried out will also be infinite if there is still a place for these smokers to be provided. However, with the ban, the elimination of smoking activities is able to reduce the pollution that occurs in the campus environment. In fact, smoking is a cause of pollution. There is a lot of research that show that many kinds of gases that are released by smoking are harmful for the environment. According to the World Health Organization in 2020, 22.3% of the global population use tobacco. 36.7% of all men and 7.8% of the world's women. So much smoke that is produced by cigarette cause the air to be contaminated. Not only the air but also the land will be contaminated by cigarette. The residue of cigarette will be rubbish and pollute the area. Cigarette butts account for millions of pieces of litter annually and detract from a location aesthetic. If smokers would dispose of their waste properly when they are in public place, this might not be an issue. But the fact of the matter is that they don't. The evidence is there. Littering attractive building and the surrounding landscape with cigarette butts. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, the existence of this smoking ban is able to reduce waste that comes from cigarette butts.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Brother and sister, my name is Swandika. I'd like to report the argument from the pro team and give my argument. Management has given his argument about this argument about the smoking ban. So today I will be talking to you about my points. Maybe here I will select your thoughts, your opinion about the representing of my friends' opinion earlier. We know that smoking is not healthy for the body, but there are so many people who still consume cigarette in this part of the world, tens of millions, even hundreds of millions. Before entering, we must know the content that is any cigarettes recall the danger of smoking, as well as drinking coffee, drinking alcohol, and using drugs. It is more or less almost the same as three objects. When we pull a cigarette, is concerned one more or less addictive substance in it. Coffee with this caffeine which can make the heart beat fast, making it difficult to sleep. alcohol with metallic substance that make the body heat up, and the temperature in the brain is so high, so that it make hallucination. Drugs are actually substance use drug, and actually so far we have been sick. I believe all of that will be prohibited if you consume too much of substance that I explained earlier. But why is tobacco still being traded by the public until now? Because the nicotine substance that makes this addiction when consumed so has many of the effect it does not wait long. And no one can consume it. Hundreds of countries in the world, only 4 countries have banned cigarettes: Bhutan, Colombia, New Zealand, and Costa Rica. Bhutan with the country that value culture and forest hospitality. Colombia, which is almost the same but still legalize drugs. Costa Rica, whose tax GDP are unequal. And New Zealand, where import costs a lot of money and its citizens consume a little. For a smoker, to stop smoking is difficult. Very difficult. Because cigarettes are like rest for the smoker himself. But I'm not to blame about the intention to quit smoking. However, if you want to issue a ban of smoking, that offends your own human right. Because with free circulation, there is no ban on the issue of cigarettes, but the prohibited consumption is still a strange thing because where the effect of smoking are not as bad as consuming alcohol and drugs, and even helping the economy of many countries, GDP and high tax for the country. But it is possible to overcome the impact of providing smoke-free areas to have been proclaiming. Because when talking about the effect on pollution, whether when the operation of oil-based vehicle and factories, because to that alone make pollution worse than effect of a cigarette pollution.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Fathia Rizki Fitriana, and today my teammates have already given their argument about why smoking shall be banned on campus. The contra team from the first to second already gave their argument, and I am here to refuse it and will also reinforce the argument of my team proposition. Previously, I'm sorry, it seems we don't need to discuss factory or other industrial pollution here. It seems that there is a stark contrast when smoking on campus is compared to air pollution caused by factories. While is it true that factory caused air pollution is worse, it is more pronounced between humans. Smoking is done by humans who are in humans' environment. With cigarette, smoke wafting to and fro in a place where there are lots of people, it's very clear that it can interfere with the activities of the people who are there. We ourselves don't know whether some of them might be suffering from asthma or other respiratory disease. If someone suddenly has an asthma attack, do you want to be responsible when you're the only one smoking there? Can you just hold it in for a while not to smoke in a crowd of people? Well, will you die right then and there if you don't smoke for 1 hour? Cigarettes are reserved only for adults who are usually mature into. You are an adult whose mind is not like a teenager anymore. Try to respect the people around you and be wise about your cigarettes. You even know that passive smoking is more dangerous than active smoking. It has been explained earlier in the first and second propositions that cigarettes contain harmful compounds which are very harmful to the body. Do you have the heart to spread the disease to those whose medicine will be very expensive if they are infected? Therefore, you only need to hold it for a while not to smoke in the area of many people. Or why don't you just try to stop a little to avoid these dangerous diseases? But if you can, my advice is just be wise about your cigarettes.
Okay, thank you for the response to the argument that my team made convicted. But actually, if we focus on this issue, on the risk that exists in smoking itself, many things in this world have risks which are no less big than the risk of smoking, both the risk for individuals and society. One example that we can take is the risk of premarital relationship or dating, which lead to sexual feelings, bullying, and so on. Now back to the reaction to abolishing on or banning smoking in the campus area. In my opinion, as I said in my first argument, what is currently being emphasized is a solution to this problem that can be accepted by all parties, because especially students we have freedom in living life with its limitation. As stated in your argument, that smoking is only permitted for adults with consideration of their health. That smoking is only permitted for adults with consideration of their health. Now, in my opinion, it will be much better when its decision taken by the campus and used as students are the same, using the thinking of an adult who should be able to solve problems and provide solutions like adult.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, for the last sentence of my team, I'd like to give a summary to this debate. So far, we have seen the arguments about why smoking should be banned on campus. There are some impacts that we have on ourselves, other people, and the environment. Now, because the reason that we've explained, we have to support this movement. Ladies and gentlemen, what have I told you today? Firstly, smoking has been advised effect on health that harms ourselves and others from various sources. It has been explained that smoking can cause chronic disease. Secondly, smoking here is also contributing to smoke and waste pollution. If we are not able to stop it from now on, it will impact on all aspects of our lives. We have to preserve nature and everything in it. As we are born with a good gifts, we must also give a good gifts. And for all of these reasons, the motion must stand.
Okay, here we go to summary of control team. Talking about smoking, all adults and even teenagers know how dangerous it is. But by looking at countries that legitimize smoking, we can conclude that within our country, which is incidentally just consuming and distributing cigarettes with the terms and conditions that apply, that prohibition and rules conflict by you cannot be accepted by reason and the rights and law that are already in effect. By prohibiting them, it will also spread to other political and economic sectors. For example, tobacco, which is a natural resource, will be in a ban. The rupiah exchange rate plummets. APBN tax that will decide. Even with this, in our opinion, a special smoking area is very suitable to be implemented at this time, because the presence of cigarette smoke is not as free as it in the air as it is now, and overcoming many long issues, especially for passive smoker.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we witnessed the debate carried out by the two pro and con teams. Each team has its own perspective on the given motion, while the pro team weighed more on the dangers of smoking and the con team stated that smoking was not wrong. All of this return to our respective perspective. Therefore, by presenting the summary of opinions, today's debate will also end. That's all. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.